Hi there, Laura Wilson from Gold Star Work here. Today I'm going to show you how to make some realistic bubbles on a blue sky with a few clouds on it in acrylic paint. So for this painting I've already done a basic blue sky, and if you want to see how to do this I have got a video on painting a smooth transition in acrylic paint, and I'll link that down below if you would like to watch that first. Otherwise, let's just carry on and do the clouds and the bubbles. So I'm going to be doing these clouds now. I'm going to be using a number 6 filbert brush. So this is a Da Vinci top acrylic filbert. And it's quite a firm one, but it's not the stiff bristle type one. So your stiff bristle filbert brush is like one of these, but I prefer to do my clouds with a softer one. So it is firm, but it's got the soft bristles. So that was a number 6. So I'm going to start off with just the mixture of the white and some of the phthalo blue that we used down here for the clouds. Now I am using a picture to do my cloud shapes with. So as I said, it's a little bit different from other ones for the quick daily painting because I can't actually have a live cloud in my studio, obviously. So I have to just use a picture for this. And I'm thinking about my composition and how I want to do my clouds and getting that feeling of space and distance so that I can do my bubbles on top and have those having that feeling of space and distance as well. So I'm just going to get on with the painting and we'll see you on the other side. Now this is where having the interactive paints are really useful. So I've put my colours in where I want them, and I'm going to spritz this with some water, just a fine spray. I'm going to get my mop brush, and this is a size 14, it's called a Goat Mop by Das, and I'm just going to smooth out some of the lines that I made, mixing the colours in and making it more cloudy. Now if you've got a regular acrylic paint and not an interactive one, then you can still do this, but you have to do it more in parts, so you do it more one cloud at a time instead of doing it all together. And this is only a small painting, so I can do it all together quite happily. But this way, with the interactive paints, even if some of these bits have dried a little bit, I can then reactivate it by spritzing it with the water and getting them moving again, which is a huge advantage. And one of the main reasons why I find people say that they don't like acrylic so much is because they dry too fast and they can't blend them. And so if you have trouble blending your acrylics, this could be the answer, using an interactive acrylic instead of your regular acrylic. Now I don't want to blend all the bits away and blend them all together because then they won't look so cloud-like. And what I can do now is dry this off, and then I can go in and add any more shadows or lights that I want. And then I can always reactivate again and use the mop brush to smooth anything out that needs doing. So don't overwork it, just enough to smooth out some of those brush strokes to make it look more cloudy. Okay, so normally I would probably say that would be fine for the clouds because you want a bit of definition and things, but because I'm putting the bubbles on the top, I want the clouds to sink more into the background. So therefore I am going to sink them into the background a bit more by just using the mop brush again and just softening up some of those edges so they look more in the distance. So I didn't put as much water on this time, so things aren't moving around as much, because I still want to keep some of that cloud definition. Now, I might want to just increase these clouds down here a bit more because they've kind of disappeared. And that time I didn't spritz it with water, I just went over with the mop brush just to knock off some of those hard edges. So that's all we need to do with the clouds for this, and then we can go ahead and dry that and put the bubbles on top. So what I've done here is I have just used a stencil and done my circles for my bubbles. Now I've used this stencil here, but any stencil that has circles on it. Now normally when I do my bubble pictures they're a lot bigger than this, and I usually struggle to find circles big enough, but this time I more struggled finding circles small enough. So I also used a tiny little round bottle to draw around. And I haven't got my stencil here with the smaller ones on it in my studio, that's at home, so I'll have to go and get that for my other pictures just to make life a bit easier. But because I'm not very good at drawing circles freehand, I'm just using a stencil, and it just makes life a bit easier. So what I'm thinking about as I'm putting these in is my composition of my bubbles, because I want my bubbles to look like they're some further out into the distance and some close up, and I want a main focus. So I've decided my main bubble is going to be this one here, the one that's closest to me, and I'm going to make this one have the most colour in it, and it's also going to have the brightest highlight. So wherever I decide the highlight's going to be, which because I've got the highlights on the clouds coming this way, so the sun's obviously coming from this direction, so my highlight will be around that area somewhere. And that works in well because then I've got the darker sky here where my highlight will be, so there'll be a bigger contrast between the highlight and the sky, whereas if I did my highlight down here, it's a bit lighter down here, there wouldn't be as much contrast. I'm going to be using some round brushes now, so I'm going to be using my Winsor & Newton 00 and my number 1, and so I'll be putting in the colours for my bubbles. And I'll be also using my clear painting medium to help me with the transparency of colour through the bubbles. You want to get your bubble as round as possible because you'll see all the little unevenness in it, and when you look at pictures of bubbles, they look either they're a wonky shape or they're very round. So you either have to go wonky or very round. So if you're going round, you have to try and keep that as round as you can. So I was using a lot of glazing medium there to spread out my colours, and then I have to go back and do all the little ones, and because this is going to be my main one, I don't want any of the other bubbles to be more colourful than that. I can come back and put some more colour on this one after, which I probably will do. I'm going to use my iridescent medium, and this is just like a clear medium. It's got a little bit of a milkiness to it, and it's got little sparkles in it. And I'm going to be mixing that in with my clear painting medium, and that way in some areas it'll be quite transparent, and in others you'll get a kind of a whiter sheen with a bit more sparkle. And then where the areas I want to have the most light on, I'm just coming in with the iridescent medium on its own. Okay, there's my bubble painting finished for today. If I just tilt the paper a bit, you can see how the light shines on that iridescent medium to make those bubbles sparkle. If you liked this video, please don't forget to like and subscribe. And happy painting, everyone. Hope you have a great day, and I'll see you next time. Bye.